Adrien Broner speaks after loss to Blair Cobbs. The tale of Adrien the Problem Broner's climb to fame and subsequent collapse serves as a compelling reminder of the inherently harsh nature of the sport of boxing. In the world of boxing, where victory and notoriety frequently go hand in hand with sacrifice and sorrow, the narrative of Adrien's rise to prominence and subsequent fall serves as a potent reminder of the terrible nature of the sport. Broner's most recent fight, which he contested against Blair Cobbs, provided a striking indication of his waning competence and generated questions about his future in the ring. The incident occurred while Broner was competing against Cobbs. On a particular occasion, Broner was lauded for his great talent, but it was his performance against Cobbs that served as a defining moment in his professional career. It was anticipated that the bout between Broner and Cobbs, which was promoted by Don King Promotions, would be a clash between two sets of people of different generations. Throughout the entirety of the fight, this prediction was made. During this period, a former champion was faced with the decision of whether he would attempt to reclaim the glory he had previously achieved or whether he would give up to the inevitable passing of the torch. In spite of the fact that he had only been in the professional boxing business for a relatively short period of time, Cobbs entered the ring with a passion and drive that belied the fact that he had a record of 17 victories and 1 loss. As of that moment, he had a record of 17 wins and 1 defeat. Despite having a record of 35 wins, 1 defeat, and 1 draw, Broner carried the weight of his prior achievements and expectations. He was the one who carried the weight of his previous accomplishments. He carried the burden of his prior achievements with him. As soon as the opening bell rang, it was immediately evident that Cobbs had methodically prepared to take control of the ring. This was immediately apparent right away. It was clear from the very outset of the fight that this was the case. His body strikes were delivered with focus, his jabs were lightning fast, and his footwork was pinpoint accurate. He was able to land blows with intent. In the ring, he was a fighter who stood out for his effectiveness. When fighting against his younger opponent, Broner, on the other hand, gave off the impression of being cautious and lazy, and he had a difficult time finding his rhythm. By the time the rounds were up, Cobbs had already established himself as the dominant fighter in the battle. By setting the pace, he was the one who was responsible. He proceeded to pound him with an uninterrupted onslaught of blows while deftly dodging his opponent's attempts to react. This was in spite of Broner's attempts to respond to his attacks. Broner was unable to mount a substantial offense, much to the dismay of his people who supported him. This was a significant development. This was in spite of the fact that he had a reputation for being resilient and long-lasting, as evidenced by the fact that he was able to withstand significant blows that caused a tooth to become dislodged. A wide range of causes, each of which has its own set of possibilities, can be ascribed to the fall in Broner's performance. These factors can be broken down into several categories. Among these factors, the most significant one is the toll that his previous fights against formidable opponents, such as Manny Pacquiao, have placed on him. Over the course of several encounters, he has not been able to recover. Broner was left with the responsibility of striving to restore the brilliance that had previously defined his career as a result of these high-stakes battles, which not only took a physical toll on him but also took a psychological toll on him. As a consequence of these fights, Broner was left with the task of attempting to repair his career. It is also undeniable that Broner's personal troubles outside of the ring, which include well-documented struggles with substance addiction and changing weight, have surely contributed to his collapse. This is something that cannot be disputed. This is something that cannot be refuted on any account. Even though his unconquerable energy and battling heart are still present, the fact that he is unable to adjust to the ever-changing landscape of boxing shows that he is a fighter who is not in sync with the requirements of the sport. This is despite the fact that he is still present. This is due to the fact that boxing is a sport that remains in a state of perpetual evolution. Immediately following the conclusion of the battle, it became quite evident that Broner was unable to accept defeat. Moreover, he stated that Cobbs had not truly been effective in defeating him, which was a serious challenge to the conclusion that the judges had made. He pointed out that this was a significant obstacle. Nevertheless, his concerns were met with apathy, as a large number of fans and spectators alike acknowledged the possibility that his time spent competing in the ring is coming to an end. Therefore, his protests were not taken seriously. However, his arguments were treated with a lack of interest. It has been speculated that Broner would be retiring, and some media outlets have suggested that he may have informed his agent that this bout would be his final one. These rumors have been around for quite some time. The idea of Broner's retirement has been brought up in conversation. If a boxer who had once captured the imagination of boxing fans all over the world with his fearless charm and indisputable talent were to pass away, it would be as if he were to put an end to an era. The conclusion of an era would be marked by the confirmation of this, if it were to be confirmed. In spite of everything that is going on, Cobbs has not wasted any time in preparing himself for the future fights that are going to take place. Known rivals such as Ryan Garcia have already been singled out for future confrontations, and he has already started inviting them to engage in conflict with him. He has been able to secure his position as a rising star in the welterweight class as a result of his victory over Broner, despite the fact that his triumph did not necessarily come as a surprise to some individuals. This incident, which exemplifies the shifting of the guard, brings to light the ever-evolving world of boxing while also highlighting its continuing evolution. As fans of the sport, we are experiencing a range of feelings as we witness Broner's career come to a close. We are experiencing a variety of emotions. We are enthusiasts of the sport, which is why this is the case. The tour serves as a cautionary tale about the hard reality of boxing, which is a challenging field in which talent alone is not always sufficient to assure success. This trip highlights the harsh realities of boxing. The journey that he went on serves as a lesson to be learned from. It is fair to say that the challenges that Broner is currently confronting are, in many ways, analogous to those that have been faced by a significant number of fighters who have come before him. The inevitability of aging and the cumulative effect of a lifetime spent competing for glory are two things that these boxers have been forced to confront throughout their entire lives. It is the hope that Broner will find pleasure and satisfaction in whatever path of activity he decides to pursue in the future, regardless of whether it is within or outside of the confines of the boxing ring. Despite the fact that this is a depressing notion, there is hope in the middle of the dismal concept. The dismal pondering serves as the setting for the presentation of this feeling of hope. As the dust settles after this most recent chapter in his remarkable career, there is one thing that can be said with complete certainty. The legacy of Adrien Broner, regardless of whether it is for the better or for the worse, will be indelibly inscribed into the annals of boxing history. This is the case regardless of whether the legacy is for the better or for the worse. The legacy that we have left behind will, in the future, serve as a reminder of the victories and struggles that define the sport that we hold dear. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.